Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and welcome back to another episode. And today I'm excited because if you write some courses or if you have a podcast and you're not necessarily turning your podcast into lead generation, well, today is your day. Nathalie Doremieux is in the house. And so without further ado, would you like to introduce yourself to us and pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, sure. Actually, you did really, really well. I would say way above average, okay? But it's just a fact of trying, Yeah, so my name is Nathalie Doremieux. So I live in the south of France. I am both French and American. I've lived in the US for 10 years in the Silicon Valley. And I'm a mom of three, and I run a family business with my husband. We've been in business for 20 years, and in 2 days will be our 30th anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah. And we basically have two sides of our business. The first one is the membership lab. This is what we've been running for years now, where we help people with their online course, their coaching program, their memberships, and we help them with the tech, building the platforms, but also with the strategy on how do we create an experience inside so people actually stay. We also have been involved in AI for a while, AI as an amplifier, not as a replacement. Right? So as an accelerator of result as well for people that do online courses and memberships and programs. So we create tools basically for our clients to help their clients, right? And then the new baby, which is the lead generation. I say new baby because it's from 2025, okay? And it's called Podcast Lead Flow, and it's a tool that answers the problem of how do I find out who my listeners are on my podcast, and how can I connect with them and start a conversation? So that's the problem that we wanted to tackle. And of course, we used AI to help craft unique lead magnets, if you will, unique advice and coaching for every single listener based on what they share. So we can talk more about that. But that's kind of like the two work hand in hand. It's like we had people that were saying, I have a podcast, it's great content, it's got value, and I've got clients or people in my course or membership, but there is no link between the two. I don't know what the podcast is bringing to my business, right? So we wanted to find a solution for that.
I love that. And it's such an important thing to do. Like I talk to a lot of people and I've done a lot of episodes, and a lot of them do use their podcast or something to be able to generate the leads. And other people are like, oh no, it's my passion project. I've never really thought about that. So maybe I need to. And that's been me. So with AI, like what type of things do you mean by AI? Is it automated, or can you expand on that a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember earlier I was saying AI as an amplifier and an accelerator. That's how we use AI. We don't think like AI to write your content or write your course or do comments on social media for you. Absolutely not. AI to amplify the human side of things. So for example, with Podcast Lead Flow, where AI comes in is that when and we can talk about this deeper, but when people listen to an episode, and if they listen on a page where you have control of what happens next, so on your website or on a pod page, I'm talking not Apple and Spotify where people want you to stay there, right? So a page where you have control, and maybe below you have an opt-in, very quite typical, where you want people to give you their name and their email in exchange for a lead magnet. Okay. Now, when you do this, every listener gets the same lead magnet. Now, with the power of AI, what we can do is AI can analyze what is said in the episode as knowledge right? Like if you have a method or a framework that you share, right? Something actionable. Then it can come up with 3 questions that it's going to ask the listener
Mm.
in order to find out where they're at so that it can send them an email that is unique to them. So based on your context, based on your situation, here is one thing you can do this week. Or here are like your 4-step plan. So not everybody gets the same thing based on where they're at, right? So that's where it comes in because it has the ability to analyze. But AI is only going to ever be as good as what you feed it. It's not good on its own, right? It's going to grab things from Google and all these places, and it's contradictory information. Like it's no good. We wanted to start with our expertise, and in that case, that's the episode.
Okay.
Then it needs context, right? So this is the method. This is how you can do things. And if the listener is thinking, but does this apply to me?
Mm-hmm.
But what about me for me? What does that look like? Right? So it's literally like having the listener sitting next to you. You ask them a couple of questions, and based on that, you give them a piece of advice. Okay, for you, I think you should start here.
Wow.
And you see the value versus a PDF that a lot of people don't even read fully, right?
That is amazing that it can do that. So how did you come up with the idea?
So the idea came from my husband, who is the idea, maker. He gets several ideas a day. But this one really came from talking to podcasters. So I want to say 3 years ago, I went on this journey to reach out to 100 podcasters
Oh, wow.
to find out how they were using their podcast. And when you mentioned earlier, there are podcasts for people, it's just a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I found that and I was shocked.
Mm.
I didn't know that there were that many people that were doing a podcast. I don't know, because it sounds cool. Maybe they like to talk and have conversation with people, but they're like, no, I'm not doing it to grow my business. So it's a hobby. Totally fine. Totally fine. It's not for them. They are not looking to connect with the listener. Maybe they are looking for more downloads so that they can get sponsors. I get it. That's a way to monetize, right? But there were also people that actually want to do a podcast with a very clear strategy in mind, which is to talk to their ideal client and get leads and get clients from it, right? So they want to see that ROI. That's why they run. Of course, you have episodes that are going to be about inspiration, storytelling, tell them about you and things like that. But you should have key episodes that are about your ideal clients. And you need to figure out what it is that they need to hear in order to start to trust you, to want to learn more from you, and to start to feel, maybe that person can help me. That's all we need from the episode. We are not going to get them to buy anything from listening, right? We just need to get them to the next step. And when we created the tool was just to do that. It's called Podcast Lead Flow. And it's basically to just say, let's connect, start a conversation by email. So when they get the email, as the host, you can also be CC'd on the email. That means that you see what they're getting, and then you can follow up in a couple of days, right? By replying if you want. So how did you like, this advice? And maybe you have something that you want to say, because now it's you, right? You're taking control of the flow. So this is obviously not a quantity thing, it's a quality thing, right? This is really for people that want to connect with what we call also the low-hanging fruit, right? The people that are just raising their hand and are ready. Those are the people that are going to fill out the form, right? They're going to tell you where they're at, what is the pain, because they're actively looking for help.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's fast forward through the process, right? And so you help with that, they start nurturing, they start having conversations that eventually the potential client says, okay, I want to learn more. And so they sign up and either they're coaching or they sign up for a membership. And you've helped over 300 people create these membership sites, which is amazing. So what separates the good from the bad from either it fizzling out or it taking off? How do
Are
they
you
know
talking
that they,
about the membership
yeah,
specifically?
yeah. How do they know that they have a winning program or
Mhm.
something that's worthwhile?
So there is something that is people are not paying attention enough
Hmm.
is is that something that you really, really want to do?
Oh, hmm.
You know, when you see people say that they are overwhelmed, it's too much work, da da
Yeah.
da, people said it was going to be passive income, there is a very good chance that these people started a membership for the wrong reasons.
Oh, okay.
Because a membership is a model that is scalable by definition, right? So it's for you to set the rules and say how much you're going to be involved and stick to these rules.
Hmm.
So some people get so excited, they're like, I'm going to do a call a week. Oh, let me do 2 calls a week. And like 3 months in, they're like, oh my gosh, I just created another job for myself. Right? So that's the first part I would say is like, are you excited about the idea? When you tell me the idea, when you explain it to me, I need to see excitement. I need to feel the energy. I have this program, it's closed right now, but it's called First Members.
Hmm.
And I created it for this because out of the over 300, almost 400 that we built, there are a lot that they paid for the tag from us, but they never launched. And I'm
Oh,
like, I don't want to take on these people anymore. I don't want to take their money. I want successful clients. So
yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to create a program and I'm going to help validate the idea. And part of validate the idea is that you have to sell it to me. And I've told people,
Wow.
I'm not sold. I don't think that this is that really what you want to do. Like you don't sound excited when you talk about it. You sound like it's going to be a lot of work, right? So that's usually a sign that maybe this is not the right direction or the right format for you, right? And I can tell when we talk, and so I get them talking, and then suddenly I see something where there is a little smile or something. I'm like, okay, now maybe we got something here. Let's dive deeper because people think membership, recurring income, if only I can get this amount of members, I'm good. That's not the way to think about it, right? So that's the first thing. Like, is it really aligned with the vision you have, what you want to do?
Hmm.
And then set those rules of how you're going to be involved from day one. The second piece is that your membership needs to solve a recurring problem that people have. And that's super important. You cannot just say, I've got expertise, let me package that, put that into a membership and sell it because people need to hear this. This is not enough anymore. Those memberships, they don't work anymore. You really have to dive deeper into what is it that people need from you where you have the expertise. Are they trying to save time? Are they trying to make more money? Are they trying to be happier, right? Whatever that is. Are they trying to learn a skill or something, right? So you have to go deeper into that. The ones that are successful are the ones that have nailed that piece. They know exactly why the members are coming and they know how to make them stay, obviously.
I love that. That is such good advice. And first of all, kudos to you that with your integrity, that you're not just taking people's money, that you actually want people to be successful. Because I've come across several people that they'll happily take your money and they don't care if you're successful or not. They got your money. And
Mhm.
if you've paid them for years and years, and it just, yeah, kudos to you. I think that that tells a lot about you as a person and how you can be successful with your clients too. So
Yeah.
that's good.
So, and you know, when we did this, so very interesting stat. I'm sure you've heard about this strategy of selling it before you build it,
Mhm.
right? Like you sell the course before you build it,
Yeah.
because if you don't sell it, then you don't have to build it, right?
Hmm.
I love the concept. Some people are scared about that because they're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm gonna have to like. It is a good strategy if you want to test an idea, right? You're never going to really, really know until people take out the credit card. That's the reality. A waiting list is not enough. You could have tons of people on your waiting list because they love you, and then they're going to say, oh, I love the idea, but like right now I can't. You know, I'm busy, but I will come as soon as. That doesn't work. That means it's not for them. The pain is not here now, right? So, what's really important is that you basically create that interest list, okay? But what I found when I did first members is that those people that were excited about it, they are the people that got on it and that did the homework. And they're like, yeah, I sent the email. I started to build my interest list. And usually we would say on an interest list of people that have raised their hand and have said, I'm interested, if you convert 20, 30%, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
My people, how excited they were, 50, 60%.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that tells you that you don't need a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You need the right people.
Yeah.
And when we built the interest list, we strategically created it so that we were telling them from the start, we're going to co-create this. Mm-hmm. Because it needs to work for you, but it's going to also need to work for me, right? So if it works for you, it works for me. At the intersection is the ideal membership. And these people, because they've been working through, because now they are in the interest list, they've been looking at how you're making progress and they're getting involved. By the time you open the doors, they're already in it. They've had a foot in it for a while, right? Yeah. So see, but you have to have that energy. People have to feel that, right? That's really energy that you can pass through these people so that they'll be begging, literally begging, when are you opening the door? How can we get in? And for that, you don't need a lot of people.
No, that's true. And I love the concept of the right people and getting them excited to get ready. So let's talk about that. Let's go back to the podcast then.
Yeah.
Because you're nurturing these people, you're wanting to see if they're interested, you want to have the right people. What is your recommendation to get them to make a call to action at the end? Because many times, and you'll see me on this podcast probably, that I don't always say, hey, please like and subscribe. And I definitely don't say, hey, go to this, unless it's for the person I have as a guest. So what's your recommendation on how to guide listeners to action?
So the best podcast formats for you to generate leads is going to be solo episodes or being a guest on a podcast.
Okay.
And this is the reason. So first, and by the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an AI tool for our episid, right? Because here I am going to create a tool with Podcast Lead Flow for this episode that we are doing right now, right? And that's what I'm going to share with people, because I'm going to tell them, here is the episode and here is a tool for you below to start taking action, okay? So why a solo episode? Because in the solo episode, you have an opportunity to show your expertise, show how you're working with people, what your values are, who you like to work with, that format. And then you can have a call to action. And that call to action, there needs to be only one. If you say, follow me on Instagram, sometimes I used to say, follow me on LinkedIn if you can spell my name. Worst call to action ever. Nobody's going to ever do that, right? Why would I say that? So one clear call to action. And mention it not just at the end. See what I just did? I told you there will be a tool below. So now people that are listening know there will be a tool below that I'm going to share again as the call to action when you ask me, how can people find out more about you? Okay? So one call to action to not distract people. I know people put the call to action in the show notes. Well, guess what? Most people don't read show notes. A lot of people don't even know they exist. And there are way too many links and calls to action. So they are great for SEO. I'm not saying don't do show notes, right? But this is not how you're going to get leads. How you're going to get leads is repurposing. Because yes, you can share on Apple and Spotify because you want the downloads, you want the reviews, you want to be there on their, engine, fine. But these platforms, they don't care about our business. They want the listener to stay there and continue to binge episodes, not even yours, others, right? So that's not where they're not going to help you get that call to action in effect, right? So people say, well, I just can't. Yes, you can. You repurpose that episode, whether this is you as a host or as a guest. Actually, we have a free tool where you can create an RSS feed from all your guest appearances. super easy to use. So you can create your own podcast of your guests' appearances, right? So the idea is back to the when you're a host, right? So you have this episode, and when you repurpose it, ideally you repurpose it on a platform where you have control over the next step, not Apple, Spotify, your website, pod page, whatever that is, right? And you have a form, an opt-in where people can actually sign up, or even better, with Podcast Lead Flow, you have that AI form, which is a real tool to give them a unique piece of information, like almost like if you were there, right? And that's where what you share on social, that's what you share with your list as well. We have a client, Alicia. There is a case study on our website. She actually took the episode, an old episode she had. She recorded it to change the call to action at the end. And she said, there is a tool below for you to figure out what is your biggest assumption. Took that episode, put it on the website. Well, we did that for her because it's part of the service. And then she shared that with her nurture sequence, people that have been on her list for a while, right? She got somebody that booked a call because her call to action was book a call. Doesn't have to be that, right? It could be hit reply and tell me what comes up, right? Or something like that. Or here is another episode for you to listen to, or here is a waiting list, whatever that is. But for her, that was book a call because she sells high ticket. She booked a call. She made the sale, $7,500. Someone that had been on her list for a while, that was not taking action. And that extra piece of value that was unique, that resonated with the person, she even sent an email and said, because she was very not worried about AI, but like she's a leadership coach. It's like, I'm not sure AI is sending email for me. Well, you can say it's AI, she says. It's AI, we've trained it, but it's AI, okay? She wanted to be very open. And the lady answered and said, like, I really loved the email that she got. And then when I got into a conversation with Alicia, she said, you know what? I was so worried about the email. It's not about the email. It's about the fact that I was able to connect with her and have the conversation, right? So that's basically the idea. You have to be strategic. You can literally use one of these episodes that really speaks to your ideal client and use that like you were using a lead magnet on a landing page, right? When you have a landing page with a freebie, how many call to actions do you have there? Just one, right? They can only sign up, right? Well, it can be the same with a podcast. It's a real asset that you've created with that episode that can help you get leads and start conversations. And you can do the same with your guest appearances.
Love that. That's so cool. I could talk about this forever. It's amazing all the stuff you can do. Like I'm definitely, yeah, we got to talk offline, but our time is up. And so I want to switch gears for a second and talk about your motherhood. And I want you to imagine you sitting on a park bench and a 9-month pregnant woman, she's a first-time mom, comes and sits next to you. And you look at her and you think about the first time that you're pregnant and now we're at the age of your kids are. What is one piece of advice that you would give her? And it doesn't have to be just as a new mom, just any time as a motherhood since you, in your experience.
Ooh, yeah. So I know exactly what I would say. I would say never compromise on the time that you want to spend with your child. I've seen too many people feeling like that they are not good enough, not good mothers, not good parents because they spend time work and things like that. Alicia, that I was talking about, I've known her for years. She's been a client and now a friend for years. And when she had little ones, she would sometimes feel bad about having to leave the kids because she was going speaking somewhere or to an event or something like that. There are times for work and there are times for family, but always put the family first because they grow so fast.
They do. They do. And I love that advice. And I have 6 kids of my own and then a stepson. And it's interesting because the first 4 were together and now the youngest, he's graduated, he's in college. And got his associate degree, and then I have these two little ones, that one's in elementary and one's in junior high. And it's interesting because I have such a different perspective now for these
Mhm.
little two. And one of them, she's like, Mom, I need your attention. Give me attention. I don't have it. And so she reminds me sometimes that I need to turn off the laptop or the computer and it's time, it's family time. And so I love the advice because you can't hit the rewind button and try again. The time's
Exactly. We've had so many of these conversations with Alicia, and it's really like, don't try to fit work when you know it's not going to happen and they're around. You're missing out. You're not doing the work and you're not spending time with them. So it's wasted time.
Mhm.
So look at do the work, your work. I mean, if you work at home, obviously, like when you know the time when you know you can and you can have undivided attention to work. And the rest is bonus, optional,
That's true.
right?
Hmm.
So instead of trying to fit 3 hours in the calendar, but you're not exactly sure, let's do two.
Yeah.
At least you can check that. I've done that. And
Hmm.
if you can do more, 2.5, you'll feel better. Versus if you do 3 in the calendar and you never get there, you're like, I'm never getting there. Same thing, but it feels very different.
No, it's true. It's kind of like when you go on vacation, you get a whole bunch of stuff done because you got to before you go on vacation. It's the same thing. If you know that this is my time, like my kids get out of school at this time, so I'm turning it off at this point so I have time with them. Because how many times, like, how productive are you when you know that they're running around doing stuff?
Exactly. It
Watch.
just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, so it requires to also like be maybe saying no to a lot of things,
Hmm.
right? And just focus on like what is the priority, right? What is the priority today? And then the rest can wait. Like if they're what are like my your 3 wins, three
Yeah.
things. If I do these 3 things today,
Yeah.
I'm happy. The rest is bonus point.
I love
And
that.
if when you look at it that like that, then you won't get the frustrations. You know when
Hmm.
so we were living in France when we moved back. We were living in the US, sorry. When we moved back to France, my baby was 6 months old. And
Oh,
that's when we started the business,
okay.
right?
Amazing.
So I was right in the middle of there. And I never felt that because I've always put her first.
That's that's really good.
Yeah. So how Alicia was struggling, I was not. I just like it could not be. That's why we moved back
Yeah.
to get time back, not to have a 9 to 5,
Right.
to be
It's not
able
nine to
to
five. Yeah.
build a business around our lifestyle and not the other way around. And that was time with the kids.
What do you attribute your successful marriage to?
Um, Communication, compromise. So acknowledging that there are like different ways that things can go, right? But the key is for it to work is that you have to be wanting to go into the same direction, which
Mhm.
is not something that you choose, right? Like it is or it is not, right?
Yeah.
So, but for us, I mean, we've been working together for 20 years now
Hmm.
from home, right?
That's amazing.
So I would say it's communication and also getting to know each other, um, like our personalities, how we're wired.
Hmm.
Like I'm a very to do, like if we have a meeting, there's got to be an outcome that's very clear. I cannot speak for 3 hours about ideas
Right.
and, like nothing's come out of it. At some points, my eyes start to go, and it's like, okay, I know you're not here anymore. Let's stop. So it's acknowledging that we can also be different,
Yeah,
but knowing how to communicate, I think, is basically the key.
it is. I 100% agree with that. So, well, Natalie, thank you so much for being on. If our listeners wanted to say, I would love to implement this, how would they get a hold of you?
So basically, the easiest would be that they go to podcastleadflow.com/Charisse.
Hmm.
So your name,
Mhm.
Charisse, just saying for people that are listening, right? And there will be our episode there, and then there will be a tool for them to connect with me
I love
about how to see how this could work for them.
it. This is so good. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And Unbreakable Moms, if you're a coach or you have a membership site or you have a podcast and you want to be able to create more lead flow using AI, then please reach out because this is an amazing tool that can be so beneficial for you. So go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.